Hi guys, first things first, yes I've had a haircut, and yes I will mention it again in my next video, which is a pickups video that I've already shot. So with that out of the way, this is a tag response to Mew2, who asked me to talk about what games I thought had great replay value. Now this question kind of precludes certain types of games automatically because they're just obviously made to be replayed. I mean, things like fighters, you know, like Tekken, Virtua Fighter, you can't really include that as something that's got a good replay value because that's the whole point of it. Also the same way, you know, racing games, replay, it's supposed to be replayed over and over again, that's the point of it. Super Circuit will be up there if that was the kind of game that I was talking about right now. But no, when you talk about replay value in games, I think really that question means, you know, games that have structure like levels, stories that you can play through again and again and still enjoy it every time you do so. Replay value. Yeah, so I think that's what this question's aiming at. So with that in mind, these are some of my top replay value games. Right, first of all, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Well, most of the Tony Hawk's, but especially number 2 and number 3. Now this comes close to the whole being precluded from the, you know, like the Super Circuit, the racing games, the fighting games. It's probably in the same ballpark. It's maybe on the line there. They do have certain story elements to it, but it's mainly about replaying the levels. But it's on the edge there. It's on the edge of this kind of question. But replay value is definitely there with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. You know, trying to get the best lines, the perfect runs. I think the old school way they did it was better with, yeah, this it was more simple, more pure kind of experience really, and you just really wanted to keep playing it again and again to get that perfect run. Now that is kind of a theme that I think runs through a lot of games that have replay value, is this you know, this drive to try and get a perfect run. And this is something that applies a lot to old retro games, those games that were balls hard. And when I picked out the games that I wanted to talk about today, the majority of them are old retro games. I wasn't trying to go for the old stuff, I was looking at a whole collection, but I think, yeah, one key factor that really helps with the replayability of a game is if it's, yeah, it's got that certain quality of just, you want to get it right, get it perfect kind of thing. And this fits in with, yeah, the old, simpler games that were just balls hard. So this is stuff like Shinobi. Yeah, Shinobi 3, absolutely brilliant game. Just getting into that now actually recently. I didn't play this back in the day as a kid, but this is awesome. It's got quite a few different moves and the control of the character is really really great. So the replayability comes not only from trying to get a perfect run through the levels, is the mastery of those moves and just going through them smoothly and great. But yeah, along with that kind of theme, Ghouls and Ghosts, balls hard. Another game that well, yeah, something that goes with this theme that I'm going with at the moment is that yeah, as you play, as you replay these games, you get better and better, and you learn the levels. And again, the simplicity of retro games lends itself to this aspect of gaming. Is, yeah, learning the levels, you know, pixel for pixel, and knowing exactly what's coming up when it's coming up, and just being able to go through the levels smoothly. And I think that's kind of been lost along the way as games have become more complex. Yeah, and you know, the sandbox games, you can't really do a perfect run type scenario in a sandbox game, not really. But yeah, in the old simple, you know, side scrollers, things like Ghouls and Ghosts, you can try and perfect. Another World, same deal, balls hard, but something that once you know what to do, when to do it, it becomes a lot easier. So it's just learning those levels and trying to get a perfect run through it, and I really enjoy doing that, replaying them, trying to get it right, get it perfect. And along the same lines, Gunstar Heroes. Again, balls hard, lots going on, but simple enough that you can perfect it. Final Fight is one that has great replayability, along with Streets of Rage. You know, yeah, this is a side-scrolling beat 'em up, obviously. Always enjoys sticking it on, always enjoys going through it, and it's just iconic. Final Fight, Streets of Rage as well. I don't actually have Streets of Rage, not a standalone anyway, I have it on a compilation, but I'll definitely include that in this list as well. Now, let's have a look, what should we go next? I was going to include a Rock Band, but again, that's probably in the same league as the racers and the fighters, in the sense that replayability is the whole point of it, so I'm not going to include that in here. because I'm trying to be strict for some reason with myself on answering this question. Shooters, light gun games, great replayability. I talked before about learning a level and getting a perfect run, and you really have a tangible sense of that kind of experience with light gun games, of course, because you know exactly where to point and you become like a machine. Yes, death-dealing machine. And it's just, yeah, can't beat light gun games. And I still don't have a CRT TV. Shut up, Darren. I'll sort it out when I can. Right. The only really modern game that I've got that I've considered to have great replayability, and I've picked Half-Life 2. And here it is on the orange box. Yeah, I wouldn't say most of these the first-person shooters, these kind of games, have brilliant replayability. I can certainly, you know, play through Halo a couple of times and enjoy it, but Half-Life 2 never seems to get bored. Whenever I stick it on, you always get gripped by it, and I think that's to do with the way that it tells the story. You know, there's no cutscenes. It's all, everything's told in the game. It's just really immersive in that way. And it's just atmospheric and brilliant. And if you played Half-Life 2, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I've picked Half-Life 2. But that's the only modern game really that I've picked. The ones that I've got left to show are Geometry Wars Galaxies. Again, probably excluded from this question on account of the fact that it's designed for replaying. Probably. But it's so pretty. It's so pretty, all the colours I like. But getting back on topic to my own self-created restrictions to this answer, we're getting to the big mega one. I'll do these ones first, right? When I was a kid, not so much these days, but when I was a kid, these two games had amazing replayability, and it is Night Trap and Double Switch for the Mega CD. Now, I'm sure everyone's heard of Night Trap. You might not have heard of Double Switch. It was less successful. It's the same kind of deal though. It's basically an interactive movie, and the cheesiest fucking thing ever. I mean, to all intents and purposes, it should be a terrible video game, but I spent so many hours when I was a kid replaying this. Is it a 15 rating? Yeah, it's a 15. I definitely played this before I was 15. Fact. I say that, what year did it come out? I'm going to pawn myself there. Anyway, yeah, I played it so many times because in order to get a perfect run on this game, or even in order to get a decent way down the line, or anywhere near the finish line, you had to know exactly what was going to happen when it was going to happen. To a greater degree than the other games, I talked about that kind of aspect of gaming. This is essential, because if you don't know anything about it, you have to use a camera, a CCTV system to go from room to room and trap baddies at the right time. And if you miss, you know, too many of them, it's game over, that's it. So I used to replay it in order to make a list. I'm sure I could have got these off of forums or something. This is before the internet though. This is before the internet, really, in any effective sense. I'm sure I could have found a list somewhere, but I didn't. I did it myself. I made a list of where to be, when to be there, and that's how I managed to complete Night Trap. Perfect. Same with Double Switch. Cheesy acting. It should be a terrible game, but I just loved these, and I did replay them a lot in order to be able to do that perfect run. But the kings of replayability are coming after this next one that I've got to mention, and it is Red Alarm on the Virtual Boy. Now this is it's a shooter. It's a wireframe shooter, and it's got great replayability in my eyes because there's a few different ways that you can go about playing it. Because you can change the view of the ship to in cockpit or following the ship, so that's changed it up a bit. And you can play it at different speeds as well. It's completely freeform. You can take your time. You can even stop your ship, take your time clearing everything, or you can just blast through. So you've got these four essentially different variables of how to play it, and a mixture of those different four ways of playing it really lend itself to replayability, to experiment with different ways of experiencing it. And it's just brilliant. I mean, this game is the closest I've got to the Atari Star Wars arcade from the 80s. And if you're a gamer of a certain age, you'll remember the Atari Star Wars game from the 80s. Oh god, that has got to be the holy grail of gaming. If I won the lottery, that is the fucking arcade cabinet that I would buy. After I bought a house big enough to house it. Oh god, that was so amazing. Great shot, kid, that was 1 in a million. All the Star Wars quotes. Anyway, it's similar to that. It's similar-ish. It's a wireframe. You're shooting space-looking baddies. It's close enough for me, alright? Yeah. But the absolute kings of replayability. Super Mario Land on the Game Boy. Now, same goes to a lesser extent New Super Mario Bros. And any 2D Mario game really. But number one of all of them for replayability, in my eyes at least, is the first Super Mario Land on the Game Boy. I never got bored of this. I could just play this from start to finish and again do it in loops over and over again, never get bored. It's just the right length. The sounds are iconic, music's iconic, you know. It's just platforming perfection. I don't know what else to say about that. If you haven't played this, if you're a slightly younger gamer and you haven't experienced this and you're into games, do it. Super Mario Land. The second one's alright as well, but the first one's better. But I gotta say the king of replayability is good old Tetris. Does it come into that band I excluded earlier of games that are designed to be replayed? Yeah, it probably does. But it's still the game that I've replayed more than anything else in my gaming history, lifetime, everness, whatever. Shh. Yeah. So that's it. That's replayable games. I'm not going to tag anyone specifically this time because I think this was a top 3 Tuesday a while back. I've certainly seen this go around before, so I don't know who's already answered it. But yeah, that's my vid. Cheers, Mewtwo, and speak to you guys later. Bye bye.